Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're doing great wherever you are. Hope you're getting some time with family. I wanted to take a second and talk about what happened in DC, that slaying of those two DC National Guardsmen, and we're going to talk about the implications of that. I'll be doing a full breakdown of how this actually went down, how it happened, the assailant, the one that tried to be the assassin of these two. Looks like the two National Guardsmen are in stable but critical condition right now. It's November 27th. This event happened November 26th in the afternoon in Washington, D.C. And I'm going to be digging through the exact breakdown. We'll talk about that assassin, who they are, where they're from, what their background is. I think it's important that we all know that. And then I'll also get into a little bit about what's being called the Seditious Six. Basically, the idea that military members don't have to follow unlawful orders. And that's kind of funny because it's kind of like saying, yeah, you see that cliff up there? You don't have to walk off that cliff. I mean, it's obvious. As a military member myself, I always knew that I didn't have to follow unlawful or illegal orders. And every military officer and enlisted member knows that. But it just kind of looks like some political rhetoric coming out of Mark Kelly. But I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think that's happening. I think the dude might be captured. But again, there's interesting things happening on both sides. But when it comes to someone coming out and saying you don't have to follow unlawful orders, I think it just sows a little bit of dissent within the ranks because it's an obvious thing, dude. We all know that. You're kind of speaking like you didn't actually have any military service, which is very weird. But again, back to the main theme of this video. Let's talk about it and let's unwind exactly what went down, a little bit more than what we've seen so far. So, there's been a lot of talk lately, just a few things. The two National Guardsmen, they're actually not, they have not perished, which is amazing. It's awesome. My thoughts and prayers are with their friends and their families, and especially those that they serve with, those that they are currently, working with in DC. I think it's very important that we acknowledge them. This is a tough time for that unit. My thoughts and prayers are with all of you men and women that are serving in the nation's capital and around our country to try to make our cities safer. It's very important what you're doing, and not only the National Guardsmen, but the first responders, everybody who even responded to this incident. I think it's it's amazing that we've got people that are standing up and saying, I want to serve. I want to be the one who's called upon when danger is, in our communities. I want to be the one to stand up and take care of this. So hats off to all of you doing that. But again, here's the scene. We can kind of see it a little bit here on X. I'll open this up just a little bit. So we got Pam Bondi doing a discussion there. Again, horrific scene. Very tragic to see this happen. And I'm going to get into how this actually went down, how this entire thing happened. But they're the first responders showing up, taking care of business, being there for those that were shot. I mean, that's just something it's a fantastic part of our country. The National Guard, obviously, still on scene there in the area, trying to figure out exactly what happened. And I'll be giving you the information I have that talks about how that actual attack went down. So, okay, so we'll rewind to that chaos. So November 26th, 2:15 p.m. Eastern time. It's a nice afternoon in DC. It's crisp, right? It's by Farragut Metro Station, which is very close to the White House. It's a few blocks away. It's on 17th Street Northwest. The two guardsmen, Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolfe, 24, from Huntington, West Virginia, an Iraq veteran, dad of two, fresh off of a third wedding anniversary, and Sergeant Sarah Beckstrom, 20, from Morgantown, a nursing student, a single mom, and cybersecurity whiz in the Guard, and she's doing that to pay for her school. I mean, these are just two super successful, amazing people, national treasures, really, from Morgantown. Is where Sarah was from. But they're on a routine high visibility patrol. And the reason that they're high visibility is because they're basically showing everybody, hey, there is safety in the city now. Basically, daddy's home and there's no running rampant for criminals anymore. So again, think of it kind of like, when you have a marked or unmarked police car. When you have a marked police car, you're trying to show the community that, hey, there are first responders in the area. It's a deterrent to criminals. And so that's what they're trying to do. It's basically, you got to hit the reset button, right? This isn't like a long-term solution where, we're going to always have National Guardsmen in DC. Hopefully, hopefully we can kind of rewrite the wrongs that have been done where that city has been left to crumble and allow these guardsmen to do what they do, get in there, get the job done, reassure security, and then get out. So again, high visibility patrols, and they're part of West Virginia's 181 troop contingent. They're they're one unit of that 2,100 member force that's actually in the area. And again, 2,100 National Guardsmen. There's reports now that 500 more are going to be rolling in, again, to reassure the public, hey, this is not okay. Attacks on the National Guard is not okay. And we've got to get our arms around this, crisis, really, when it comes to safety in our cities. So they've been there for a few months for that post-election cycle. Basically, President Trump saying, "Hey, we're going to make this city safe again," which is awesome. So they walk beats, they chat with locals, and they basically keep an eye out for trouble. I'm sure they're doing some sort of gang reporting, gang analyzation, seeing what kind of gangs are operating in the area. But here's what happened, and here's the chilling, the cold part of this entire thing. So the suspect, 29-year-old Rahmanullah Lakanwal, he pops around a corner. He locks eyes, and then he unloads on these two. So basically a targeted, cold-blooded killing using military deception tactics where you know where someone's coming from, you pop around a corner, and then you unload. So again, total coward, basically goes in and tries to assassinate these two members that are out there doing their job. They're doing their job, serving our country. This guy came here. His life was saved. He came here from Afghanistan. He was in potentially, we don't know the exact unit, but probably one of the top tier Afghan units, like commando units, working alongside of Navy SEALs, working alongside of Delta Force. Basically, he would have been slaughtered and killed in Afghanistan. They would have just taken him out and executed him. The Taliban would have been like, "Hey, you worked for America. You were in a top tiered unit. We don't want to take the risk of you coming up and going against us one day. So now you're executed and done." He would have been done. So he basically got to come to the United States in that botched withdrawal that the Biden administration, basically let unfold. And again, I'm not even trying to be political here, but that was just the worst military move I've ever seen. And so when you do something incredibly rushed like that, you're not vetting people properly. And any military member knows that there's plans right off the shelf where you do extraction operations to get people out of a country in a safe and secure way. So not only the people that are coming into our country are vetted, but the military members that are there doing the job to get people out are safe. We lost 13 Marines because this operation wasn't done correctly. So you had that, and then you had people coming in that maybe should have been vetted better. Now, could this person, this Rahmanullah, could they have gone crazy, had a mental illness after this? Anything's possible. But at the end of the day, keeping close tabs on people that we don't know exactly who they are. We don't know exactly what their intentions are in the country. I think it's just smart. I think, again, common sense. And again, it's not even political. I really think, both sides of the aisle, if they actually could speak freely, like specifically people on the left, they would want people vetted. They wouldn't want, people that, might cause harm to other Americans roaming around in our country. They wouldn't want that. But, maybe they probably can't say that because of something they're captured by, some weird political leaning that gives them money or leverage or donations to their campaign that they, can't speak the truth, which is very, very sad. So that targeted killing is basically going to happen, right? But here's what's going to happen. The members of that unit, of that National Guard unit in the area, are going to open fire on the suspects, on the one that shot these two National Guardsmen, and they're going to be there for their bros to take down this assailant, because again, this assailant's crazy, right? They've got a screw loose. They just executed two National Guardsmen, and so they're actually going to take down that assailant, which is amazing. So hats off, and I know that's got to feel good knowing that you were there to protect more members of the National Guard and to protect members of the civilian population, because the civilian population would have been targeted, in my opinion. Someone crazy like that who goes on a shooting spree using military tactics is going to, continue. They're not going to stop. And so they're taken down with that National Guard unit being there to back up, their fallen comrades, which is just amazing. So after that happens, it's pandemonium, there's chaos, but then, finally first responders show up and start treating the victims. So a little bit more background on Rahmanullah Lakanwal. So it's kind of a bit of a wild twist. There's details coming out. I'm sure there's a full investigation, deep dive going on from the FBI, diving into exactly, the messy, background of whatever this person had going on to lead him to this point. But he wasn't just, here's the hard part. He wasn't just some random refugee that just, didn't have any affiliation with the U.S. So He was a part of that botched withdrawal like we just talked about, but he was a battle-tested commando. This is the reports I'm finding right now. And he was in the Afghan National Army's top unit, and they logged those raids alongside of those top-tier units from the U.S., where the top-tier units of the U.S. were basically like the advisors to them, because we thought that at some point Afghanistan was going to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. But, not the case. But he's basically tied to a CIA-backed Kandahar strike force called NDS-03. So think black ops and night hits, high-value target raids. This is things that I have a lot of experience with, basically flying air cover for in Afghanistan. But basically going after Taliban bigwigs was part of his job. He was getting trained by the U.S. to go after Taliban bigwigs. And, again, he would have been just summarily executed by the Taliban if we would have let him stay there. So, again, he's given a ride to the U.S. on the C-17s and the botched withdrawal. And maybe, there should be some sort of a system set up to make sure that these people are good to go. They're coming from this war-torn nation. We don't know if this person is more susceptible to being radicalized. And then again, just the transition of moving and seeing your nation, be taken over by the Taliban, that's something that is not easy, right? So this person probably went through a lot of different mental health crises, and more monitoring needed to be done. Again, the botched withdrawal, the botched transition, the botched aftermath, so many things that went wrong with that whole situation in Afghanistan. And I think this is just some of the fallout from that, which is terrible. There should be access to treatments for these people. Who knows what kind of treatments this person was getting. I mean, they were doing nighttime commando style raids. Did they have any, mental health treatment after that? Or was it just kind of like hey, let's get as many of these people here as possible, as we kind of saw with that botched withdrawal. But we've gotten word from FBI Director Kash Patel that it's a lone wolf. Right now, they're not finding any co-conspirators. But what the FBI will do is do a full deep dive on the background of this person to see if they had been radicalized online by ISIS, Al-Qaeda, who knows, maybe even the Taliban. We don't know yet. So they're going to find out all of those different things. But here it looks like they're tearing through his phone for overseas, any type of overseas chats. And then it looks like there was a draft manifesto in his backpack that blasted U.S. betrayal in Afghanistan. That's unconfirmed as of now, but those are some of the initial reports that are coming out. I'm sure we'll see. Well, that'll come out more. Was there some sort of a grudge? But hey, I look at it like, of course, a person like that is going to have some mental health issues that they're going to have to work through. But at the end of the day, dude, you were brought to the U.S. and you weren't executed by the Taliban, because you would have been executed, and that's just something that needs to be out there. So. Again, there'll be a full investigation into the background there, but I wanted to dive a little bit at the end of this video. First of all, complete respect for the unit that lost these members. They're not fully lost yet, but they're not on the streets with them. Their comrades aren't by their side. They've lost this person on their day-to-day job. So I just want to say this whole country is behind you guys. This whole country, anybody that has, common sense right now is truly seeing how this is a tragic incident, and that our military is our national treasure. Our military, our first responders are our national treasure. Myself, the Max Afterburner community, I just want to say we're all behind you guys. Everybody who's doing the day-to-day job in the National Guard in D.C., any other city, you're a national treasure. And just know that 99% of people support you. There's some fringe elements that don't, but you are supported, you are loved, you are cherished. Keep doing the job. Keep keeping our cities safe. It's amazing. We're getting our cities back, which is awesome. I want to do a quick dive into some of the things. President Trump did respond extremely well, extremely quickly. The animal that shot those 2 National Guardsmen, both being critically wounded now in 2 separate hospitals, is also severely wounded. But regardless, will pay a very steep price. God bless our great National Guard and all our members of law enforcement and military. These are truly great people. I, as President of the United States, and everyone associated with you, the Office of the Presidency, and with you. There we go. Great. So that leadership coming out very strong and supportive is something that is needed in a time like this. So very timely, very decisive, and having a leader that does that, a president who does that is very important for the military. And then J.D. Vance today, he gave his speech last night, which was great. And then, and again, this isn't meant to be political, guys. We're looking at, you need leadership when things go awry. When things go crazy, you need leadership. So wherever you stand politically, I'm all for, all different opinions on this channel. I want you to give me your opinions. I don't have everything figured out at all. I'm still learning and growing, so I want you to do the same. Give me your opinions. I want both sides, but leadership is the most important thing, and that's what I'm harping on. You have to have leaders that stand up, and when you're in charge of the greatest military force the world has ever known, you need strong leadership, and so I'm seeing that right now, and I think that's great. Something I did want to mention, it looks like this guy, Senator Mark Kelly. I don't know a ton about him. I know he took his wife's Senate seat when she was tragically shot by a radical. So, he's got a lot of fire and vinegar, and just basically, he's propelled by that, and that's great. Standing up and being there for your wife when she can't be there, I think that's awesome. But something that he said is that military members don't need to follow unlawful or illegal orders. But it looks to me, again, I would like to know more. I would love to have a conversation with this guy. But it looks a little bit to me like it is it's a political talking point. So here's something that I looked up for you guys, and this is something that all military members know. So him being a veteran and, former astronaut, he should know this. He should know that, but he is getting a lot of press. And so for his, he needs to get press. He needs to be out there. He needs to, get money for his campaigns. And, him going up against President Trump, that's the perfect way for him to get press. So I get it. But here's something that we just got on AI here. So no military officers are required to follow illegal orders. They have legal and ethical duty to disobey orders that are manifestly illegal or violate the U.S. Constitution, international law, human rights standards. Following an unlawful order can lead to criminal liability for the service member who carries it out. So there you go, guys. Again, telling a service member you don't need to follow an illegal order is like saying you don't need to walk off the cliff. Like, we all know that, dude. You don't need to, you don't need to state the obvious and just make everybody realize, like, oh my God, okay, this guy's doing this for talking points. But again, I want your opinion. You got a different opinion? You let me know, but I just want to make it clear to all my viewers out there, military members do not need to follow illegal orders at all. That's always been the case, always will be the case. It's in the UCMJ. And then I got a little teaser here for the next video that I've got coming up. So it looks like people were claiming that there was a huge airstrike in Syria. Doesn't look like that's the case. It looks like some sort of a ammo facility went up in flames. And then there's also Chief of Staff for Hezbollah has been struck at his home in Lebanon and is presumed to be dead. Israel has struck him. So I'll get some breaking videos coming out on that likely later today if I can. But overall, guys, the big part of this whole video today is super grateful for you. I'm grateful for this channel growing. I'm grateful for the ideas we can share. I want to hear your opinions. Again, even if you disagree with me, I want to know your opinions. And I hope you have a great day with your friends and your family. I hope you get that opportunity today. And if you don't, if you're out there serving our country, you're serving our great nation, you're a national treasure. And all of us back in home, we deeply appreciate you. We thank you for everything that you do. First responders, you're in that same category. You guys are out there, doing things every day to keep us safe. So to the National Guardsmen, stay vigilant, trust your training, go back to the basics, be there for each other just like you are, just like those other members of the National Guard that stood up and took down this animal. Who took down those two DC National Guardsmen. Amazing. You two, or the two that were taken down, had angels right there next to them because this person wasn't able to continue to attack them, which you can bet they were going to continue to attack them or attack bystanders. So beautiful that was the case, that, how the National Guard is there for each other. I'm grateful for you. 99% of people in this country are grateful for you as well. You're supported and you're loved. So again, thoughts and prayers with the family, the friends, and the victims that were shot. Just very terrible to know that they were taken down. And I just want to say their names one more time. So Wolfe and Beckstrom are the ones that are in the hospital fighting for their lives. If we can just send out as many prayers for them as possible, I think that's a big thing to do today as our nation celebrates this beautiful day of Thanksgiving. Thank you, everybody, for watching the channel. I really appreciate it. If you guys would, go ahead and follow me on X, follow me on Instagram. Lots more videos headed your way, and I'll keep you posted as this situation develops. Thanks. And then also watch one of these videos that pop up right here if you have time. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This is Ryan, also known as Max Afterburner, signing off.